Well, you know how mobile works, and now you know how Smite is unique. But if I've convinced you to give it a try, you'll want to know what makes the 5 classes of Smite unique. As of the making of this video, the 5 gods that are free to play whenever you want are Ra, Guan Yu, Ymir, Neith, and Thor. I won't go over the gods specifically, but I'll use these 5 gods as examples, as you'll be able to play them instantly. Before I begin, let me explain one thing briefly. Smite uses a system of 2 power types, magical and physical. Only mages and guardians can use magical power, and only hunters, assassins, and warriors can use physical power. A percentage of your power is added to your auto attacks, and your damaging abilities are also strengthened by your power. Magical power cannot go any higher than 900, but your auto attacks are only strengthened by 20% of your current magical power. Physical power cannot go above 400, but your auto attacks are strengthened by all of your physical power. This means that magical gods deal more damage with their abilities since their power can reach 900, and physical gods deal more damage with their auto attacks since all of their physical power is added to it. Also, physical gods are the only gods that can critically hit. A critical hit occurs on auto attacks, but it makes your auto attack deal 2 times the amount of normal damage. Critical hits normally do not occur unless you purchase specific items. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'll quickly go over the 5 classes. First, you have mages. Mages use magical power, and they focus on their abilities for damage. Their abilities are more often than not ranged, so they can hit enemies from a safe distance. They normally can't handle close-range combat, and they will die easily if a hunter, assassin, or warrior sneaks up behind them. Ra, for example, deals a lot of damage and can heal his allies, but he does not have an ability that lets him escape. This means he is caught off guard easily. Despite that, if given the opportunity, he can kill an opponent quickly because his abilities are very strong. You will like mages if you prefer to use abilities over auto attacks. Next, I'll explain the other class that uses magical power, Guardians. Guardians as a group benefit less from magical power, but they make up for it with something called crowd control. Crowd control is a debuff that hinders the enemy. This can range from slowing to stunning them. Although it is not a rule, Guardians are normally given more defense so that they can use crowd control to hinder the enemy and make life easier for their allies. For example, Ymir can slow enemies, stun them briefly, and create a wall that either blocks the enemy's escape or ensures your own. You will like Guardians if you like to mess with the enemy in more ways than just damage, or if you like to play a character that takes less damage. On to the physical gods. To start, let's talk about hunters. The auto attacks for hunters are ranged, which means that you can hit an enemy from a safe distance. However, they suffer from the same weaknesses as mages, as they are easy to sneak up on and are not good in close-range fights. Thanks to critical hits and their ranged auto attacks, they can be the most consistently powerful gods in the team. Neith, for example, has an ability that roots her enemies in place. This means that the enemy can attack, but they cannot run away. The power of the ability is not as high as that of a mage, but if the enemy cannot run away, then Neith can land auto attacks easier. Thus, this will increase her damage output. You will like this class if you enjoy ranged auto attacks and do not like close-range combat. Assassins are the most mobile of the physical gods. They tend to deal a lot of damage in a short span of time, but they can only deal damage at close range and have to risk their lives anytime they want to act aggressively. If they pull off their strategy, they will execute an enemy and disappear before the enemy knows what hit them. If they miss a key ability or become too aggressive at the wrong time, they will have no escape and die as fast as a mage or a hunter. Thor, for example, can throw his hammer like a boomerang. If he uses the ability a second time before the hammer returns, he can teleport to his hammer. This can be used to go through walls or suddenly attack an unsuspecting enemy. However, if he uses this ability to attack, he won't be able to use it for a few seconds and may need it to escape. In that case, he will have to either kill the enemy or die trying. You will like this class if you like to deal very high damage and like mobility and enjoy close-range combat. Last but not least, we have the warriors. Warriors are like assassins, but they tend to have less mobility and sacrifice some of their power for sustain. Sustain refers to the ability to either take less damage or heal. Most warriors have an ability that gives them health. Most warriors have some method of reducing the damage they receive. Warriors favor extended battles because their sustain allows them to survive longer than other classes. Warriors are very similar to guardians, but some of their crowd control is replaced with sustain. Guan Yu, for example, has an ability that heals himself and all nearby allies for a flat amount. He also has an ability that deals a lot of damage over 3 seconds. It also steals the enemy's defense and gives it to Guan Yu, increasing the damage the enemy takes and reducing the damage Guan Yu takes. You will like this class if you prefer to outlive your enemy and play aggressively with less fear of death than most other classes. I covered a lot today. Smite is a very compelling game. Hi-rez, the makers of Smite, made ingenious innovations as they rethought the MOBA genre. I wish you the best of luck and a fun match. Also, let's keep the community a fun and cheerful place. Everyone has a bad match every once in a while, and everyone's bad at their very first MOBA, so let's use constructive criticism instead of calling each other noobs. Lastly, if you are playing just to have fun, keep in mind that you may have allies who want to win and will easily get mad if you don't perform. It's okay to want to have fun, everyone does. But respect your ally and show them a little effort. If you want to get better, YouTube and many other sites like Tier Monster give you great advice, so you're not alone. Have fun and enjoy the battleground of the gods.